Hi, folks, and welcome to Apocalypse, Science, and Society for summer of 2021. In this course, we're going to be looking at all sorts of things around apocalypses, right? Different kinds of hazards that people have to deal with, different ways that societies try to both deal with catastrophes as well as to understand them and kind of culturally make sense of them. Now, the last few years here during the pandemic have certainly been a time period where we've had the opportunity to sort of reflect on sort of what an apocalypse is or could look like, and also what different kinds of natural hazards are and the way they can affect human societies. And, it's interesting in that I have taught this class over the last several summers, and you can see about how the different types of hazards in the world, particularly the pandemic, have really changed, because I used to do this class in ways that I had to go out and find things or find settings where we could really discuss these different kinds of hazards. And I'll be doing that again this year a little bit, but let's take a look back at how this class was introduced in just the last couple years to show what a huge impact that natural hazards can have on the way in which not just I teach this class, but on the way that we live on this planet.
All right, hi everybody, and welcome to the Apocalypse Science and Society class. This is just a quick introductory video just to let you know kind of what we're doing this semester or during this term. And as you can see behind me, I am next to a military installation. This is actually across that mountain there is Area 51, which is something you may have heard of because a lot of times people talk about it in terms of being a secret government installation and potentially where aliens are at. So that's the class that we've got going, but I thought since I was staying here at Area 51 that this would be a good place to kind of introduce the class, because we'll talk later in the class about things like militarization and war and nuclear weapons as potentially ending the war or ending the world. And we'll also talk about things like scenarios of alien invasion and that kind of stuff. So I thought this was a good spot. And some of the people that have taken this class in the past are around here. Who's taken the class already here? Yep. Say hi to Sarah. Sarah took the class before. So anyway, looking forward to the class. Hope you are too. And there'll be more information to come.
To our course this term on Apocalypse, Science, and Society. And so I just wanted to do this quick introduction video just to kind of let you know what you're in for this semester. So that's kind of what you have to do. But in terms of what the class is really about, as the title would suggest, it's really talking about kind of major disasters and processes, both Earth processes, but also kind of human social processes that create disasters, catastrophes, and death. Because these are very real things that, of course, happen in this world. And when we say apocalypse or the end of the world, we don't necessarily mean that everything is destroyed everywhere all at once. But very frequently, there are things that will create really big catastrophes and end life as people know it in a particular place. And so I'm standing today, actually in one of those places where I'm in Hiroshima, Japan, standing next to the building that was directly underneath the atomic bomb that was detonated here by the United States on August 6th, 1945. And when that moment happened, tens of thousands of people died in the city immediately, as well as many thousands of people immediately afterwards. And for all intents and purposes, this is an apocalypse that ended life as you know it for the people that were in that place. So these are the kinds of topics and things that we want to get into in this course. And so we kind of go through looking at things like earthquakes and tsunamis, and these are the kind of natural hazards, but then we'll also get into talking more about things like nuclear disasters, nuclear catastrophes, nuclear war, but then we'll also talk about other ways that humans can also create large catastrophes. And so we approach this both through the approach of science, as well as kind of looking at how human cultures and societies try to adapt to these kinds of catastrophes. So that's the theme for the course.
So here we are now in 2020, and where do we get to go that's exciting for the apocalypse? Our very own house. Yes. Well, the apocalypse definitely got real this year. When we talk about disasters, the pandemic is something that obviously many people did not see coming. And it's going to be a topic that obviously is going to come up as we're going through this class. And also, I think gives them, I guess, a little bit of an urgency and also kind of a realness, I guess, to these sort of discussions about what happens when a society is in a major state of crisis. How do we handle that? Okay, and now here we are back in 2021. The context is looking a little more optimistic, but clearly the world has been going through quite a bit of dealing with a lot of hazards, and the way in which I've been teaching this class has been very different in that I don't necessarily have to go out and find hazards. Hazards have been kind of coming to us, right? So just, a few things to kind of reiterate here at the end of this video to get us started for this class. One is make sure that you're getting on Canvas and that you're looking at the things on there like the syllabus. Look through it very thoroughly in terms of what we're going to be doing. I'm going to have weekly announcements, or actually announcements like every other day pretty much, as we go through this semester. The way this class is set up is that it can be fairly intensive because we're doing in 6 weeks what normally would be done in 15 weeks of like a spring or a fall semester. Summer's a little fast that way. And the modules in this class are basically due every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday throughout June, and then also that first week of July. We also have some independent projects that you'll be doing as part of the class for credit. And one of the other things is that you'll be watching some video lectures where I get into some of the different subjects that we're going to talk about. So, for one module, it may be looking at earth hazards like volcanoes and earthquakes and that sort of thing. And then later in the semester, we'll talk about space hazards. And then we'll also talk about other kinds of things like, diseases and pandemics and that kind of stuff too. One of the other things, and in each one of those modules, there's usually going to be a reading that you have to do, a video lecture that you're going to have to watch, and then there'll be questions kind of around these sources. And then those are, you turn in your discussions through Canvas for points, and it's really important to keep up with those because it's a substantial amount of the grade for the class is through those discussions. The other thing we do in this class is we watch movies. And I have them linked where you'll be able to watch them through Canvas or through something called OneDrive that basically is through your Keen State account. And you'll have some discussion questions along for those things too. And they're movies that are kind of associated with the apocalypse, right? All right. And then the last piece of the puzzle here is just to make sure that you keep up with everything. Like I said, it moves fast. We've got these different kinds of assignments. I will be really, I'm very organized as a person. I like to make sure that everyone knows kind of what we have coming up. I'll send out announcements, like I said, about every other day. Just make sure that you are keeping in contact with me and also checking your email because you don't want to fall behind and you want to make sure that if you're having any issues or whatever that you get in contact and you know also what assignments are coming up. So that's it for now. There'll be more to come as we start getting really rolling with the class here in June. But if you have any questions, of course, feel free to get in contact. And I look forward to this class.